Bullies mock the new kid. Huge mistake. He's the MMA champion's son. 15-year-old Alex Chen stood at 5'6" with a slender build that made him appear even smaller than he was. His oversized glasses constantly slid down his nose, and his quiet, almost whisper-like voice rarely carried across a room. As the newest student at Westlake High School, having moved from California just 2 weeks ago, Alex kept to himself, his shoulders hunched forward as if perpetually bracing for impact. What no one at Westlake knew was that Alex's father, James Chen, was a renowned mixed martial arts champion and specialized trainer who had taught his son everything he knew since Alex was 5 years old. Despite his unassuming appearance, Alex had mastered 3 different martial arts disciplines and had even competed in junior championships back in California, always under a pseudonym at his father's insistence to learn humility before pride. The unofficial king of Westlake High was Trent Bartley, a brawny junior with perfectly styled blonde hair and a Letterman jacket adorned with patches. His 2 constant companions were Derek Mills, a tall, lanky basketball player with a mean streak, and Cody Wilson, a stocky wrestler who seemed to derive genuine pleasure from others' discomfort. Together they ruled the social hierarchy with intimidation and casual cruelty. Most teachers at Westlake took the kids will be kids approach to discipline, turning blind eyes to the shoving in hallways and accidents in the cafeteria. Principal T. Mandown Harrison was more concerned with the school's academic rankings than its social dynamics, and the guidance counselor, Ms. Patel, though well-meaning, was overwhelmed with college applications and course schedules. Setting: Westlake High School stood as a testament to 1970s architecture, all brick exterior and fluorescent lighting within. The building was laid out in a large square with classrooms facing both the inner courtyard and the outside world. For Alex, it felt like a maze where danger lurked around every corner. The cafeteria, with its long tables arranged in neat rows, was particularly treacherous territory. The unspoken seating arrangement was as rigid as any class schedule, and, as the new kid, Alex found himself relegated to the end of a table, alone with his packed lunch. The boys' locker room before and after gym class became a daily gauntlet. The narrow space between lockers offered little escape when Trent and his friends decided someone needed to be initiated into Westlake culture. The back hallway leading to the music and art classrooms was another hazard zone. Less frequented by teachers and monitored only by an occasionally functional security camera, it became the perfect spot for private conversations that left victims with bruised egos and sometimes bodies. Initial conflict setup. Alex's first encounter with Trent happened on his 3rd day at Westlake. While navigating to his history class, map in hand, Alex accidentally bumped into Trent in the crowded hallway. "Watch where you're going, new kid," Trent snapped, shoving Alex against the lockers with enough force to make the metal doors rattle. "Sorry," Alex mumbled, eyes downcast as he picked up his scattered books. His father's voice echoed in his mind. "Fighting is always the last resort, never the first response. Patience and control are more important than any technique I can teach you." From that day forward, Alex became Trent's favorite target. It started with the occasional shoulder check in the hallway, but quickly escalated to daily torments. In the cafeteria, Trent accidentally spilled chocolate milk down Alex's white shirt. During gym, Alex's clothes mysteriously disappeared from his locker, forcing him to wear his sweaty gym uniform for the remainder of the day. Through it all, Alex remained stoically silent. "This isn't California," he reminded himself. "Dad said this move was our fresh start. No fighting, no complications, just focus on school and fitting in." "Hey, Karate Kid," Trent called out one day, using the nickname he'd given Alex after noticing him stretching in a way that hinted at martial arts training. "Still can't find your voice? Maybe I need to check if you've got one at all." Alex felt his hands instinctively curl into fists, his knuckles whitening with pressure. He took a deep breath and unclenched them. Not worth it. Just 3 more months until the semester ends. Each night, Alex trained in the garage of their new home, his father correcting his form and pushing him harder. "Your body must be strong when your spirit feels weak," his father would say, never asking about the bruises that weren't from their sparring. Alex never volunteered the information. Middle escalation. 3 weeks into the semester, Alex's quiet endurance was becoming a school legend. Some students admired his restraint, others thought him a coward. Rumors circulated about why he never fought. Maybe he was on probation, or perhaps he had some religious prohibition against violence. Lily Rodriguez, a sharp-witted junior with an interest in journalism, watched the dynamics with growing concern. During their shared chemistry class, she finally approached Alex. "You know, Trent only gets worse if you keep taking it," she said, sliding into the seat beside him. Alex shrugged. "I'm not interested in trouble. There's a difference between looking for trouble and standing up." "For yourself," Lily replied, studying him with curious eyes. "There's something different about you, Alex. I can't quite figure it out." Before Alex could respond, their teacher began the day's lesson on chemical reactions and catalysts, a topic that felt strangely relevant to Alex's situation. The breaking point came during a rainy Thursday in October. Alex was sitting alone in the cafeteria when Trent and his friends surrounded his table. "We've been thinking," Trent announced loudly, ensuring nearby tables could hear, "that since you're so quiet, maybe you need help expressing yourself." He produced a permanent marker from his pocket. "Hold him." Derek and Cody grabbed Alex's arms, pinning them to the table as Trent uncapped the marker. "I'm thinking loser across the forehead would be a good start." For the first time since arriving at Westlake, Alex felt something crack within him. The patience his father had preached suddenly seemed less important than his dignity. As Trent leaned in with the marker, Alex caught sight of Lily watching from across the cafeteria, her expression a mixture of concern and disappointment. Not in him, but in the situation. "No," Alex said, his voice surprisingly steady and louder than anyone had heard before. Trent paused, marker hovering inches from Alex's face. "What was that, Karate Kid? Did you finally find your voice?" "I said no." Alex met Trent's eyes directly for the first time. "This stops now." Laughter erupted from Trent's group, but there was a new uncertainty in their eyes. Something had changed in Alex's demeanor, a stillness that hadn't been there before, a confidence that seemed to have materialized from nowhere. "What are you going to do about it?" Trent challenged, but he took a small step back. "Nothing," Alex replied calmly. "Today, but touch me with that marker, and tomorrow will be different." The cafeteria had gone eerily quiet, students sensing the shift in atmosphere. Even the lunch monitors seemed to be holding their breath. After a long moment, Trent capped the marker with a laugh that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Whatever. You're not even worth the ink." He nodded to his friends, and they released Alex's arms. "See you tomorrow, Karate Kid. Maybe by then you'll remember how to be scared." As they walked away, Alex caught Lily's eye across the room. She gave him a small nod of approval. For the first time since arriving at Westlake, Alex felt something resembling control. That night, Alex finally told his father everything. James Chen listened without interruption, his expression growing more concerned with each detail. "I've tried to do what you said, Dad," Alex concluded. "I've been patient. I've walked away, but it's only getting worse." James sighed deeply, resting a hand on his son's shoulder. "I taught you to avoid fights, not to avoid standing up for yourself. There's a difference." "So you're saying I should fight them?" Alex asked, surprised. "I'm saying you should be who you are, someone who respects himself enough not to be anyone's victim." James squeezed his shoulder. "What happens next is your choice, but whatever you decide, make sure it comes from a key place of self-respect, not anger." Alex spent the rest of the evening in deep thought, planning for what he knew would be an inevitable confrontation. The next day at school, Alex walked differently, shoulders back, head up, steps purposeful. A few students noticed the change, whispering as he passed. In chemistry, Lily raised an eyebrow at his new posture. "Did something happen?" she asked quietly. "Not yet," Alex replied with a small smile. "But it will." Climactic confrontation. The confrontation came sooner than even Alex expected. During lunch period, he was walking to his usual table when Trent stuck out his foot, sending Alex and his lunch tray flying. The cafeteria erupted in laughter, followed by a hush of anticipation. Alex rose slowly, ignoring the spaghetti sauce, staining his shirt. He turned to face Trent, who stood with arms crossed, a smug smile playing on his lips. "Oops," Trent mocked. "Guess you should watch where you're walking, Karate Kid." For a moment, Alex said nothing, his gaze steady and unblinking. Then, with deliberate care, he removed his sauce-stained button-up shirt, revealing a plain white t-shirt underneath. He folded the soiled garment and placed it on a nearby table. "My name," he said in a clear voice that carried across the silent cafeteria, "is Alex Chen, not New Kid, not Karate Kid, Alex Chen." Trent's smile faltered slightly. "Is that supposed to scare me?" "No," Alex replied. But what happens next might. Trent lunged forward with a predictable right hook that Alex had anticipated since the moment he stood up. With a fluid motion that spoke of years of training, Alex sidestepped the punch, grabbed Trent's extended arm, and used the bully's own momentum to flip him onto his back on the cafeteria floor. The impact knocked the wind from Trent's lungs, and the sound of his back hitting the linoleum echoed through the stunned cafeteria. Before anyone could react, Alex knelt beside him, not to continue the fight, but to speak in a voice only Trent could hear. "My father is James Lightning Chen. Look him up. I've been training with him since I was 5 years old. I could have done this on day one, but I chose not to. Remember that." Alex stood up as Trent gasped for breath, more winded than injured. Derek and Cody stepped forward uncertainly, looking from their fallen leader to the suddenly formidable new kid. "You want to continue this?" Alex asked them, his stance relaxed but ready. "Or can we all agree it's over?" Derek backed away first, hands raised. Cody hesitated, then followed suit. By this point, a circle of students had formed around them, including Lily, whose expression mingled shock with something like admiration. Mr. Westbrook, the vice principal, finally pushed through the crowd. "What's going on here?" he demanded, looking from Alex to Trent, who was now sitting up, holding his back. "I tripped," Trent muttered, avoiding eye contact with everyone. The humiliation of being taken down so effortlessly in front of the entire school was punishment. "Enough?" Mr. Westbrook looked skeptical but nodded slowly. "Get to the nurse's office, Mr. Bartley. The rest of you, lunch is over in 10 minutes. Let's not waste it standing around." As the crowd dispersed, Lily approached Alex. "That was unexpected," she said. "Who are you, really?" Alex smiled, the first genuine smile she'd seen from him. Just a kid who finally remembered his father's most important lesson: respecting yourself comes before anything else. Resolution. The following weeks at Westlake High School saw a dramatic shift in the social landscape. Trent, his reputation severely dented, kept a low profile. A quick internet search had confirmed Alex's claim about his father, and video clips of James Lightning Chen's championship fights circulated among the student body, cementing Alex's new status. Derek and Cody, without Trent's leadership, gradually stopped their bullying behavior altogether. Derek even approached Alex in the hallway one day, awkwardly extending a hand. "No hard feelings?" he offered tentatively. Alex considered him for a moment before shaking his hand. "Only if it stays that way for everyone, not just me." Derek nodded, understanding the larger point. The most surprising development came 2 weeks after the cafeteria incident, when Trent approached Alex while he was retrieving books from his locker. "I looked up your dad," Trent said without preamble. "He's impressive." "He is," Alex agreed cautiously. Trent shifted uncomfortably. "Listen, I've been thinking. Maybe you could show me some moves sometime? Not to use on anyone," he added quickly. It looked really cool, what you did." Alex studied Trent's face, searching for signs of insincerity but finding none. "My dad runs classes on Saturdays at the community center. Beginners welcome." "Yeah, maybe I'll check it out." Trent nodded, then walked away, his usual swagger notably absent. By the time winter break approached, Alex had found his place at Westlake. He sat with Lily and her friends at lunch, joined the debate team, and even started a small martial arts club with the school's permission, under the condition that discipline and respect were its founding principles. On the last day before break, Alex found himself alone in the back hallway, where months earlier he might have been cornered and terrorized. Lily found him there, leaning against the wall in thought. "Penny, for your thoughts?" she asked, joining him. "I was just thinking about how different things could have been," Alex replied, "if I'd fought back the first day, or if I'd never stood up for myself at all." Lily considered this. "Either way, you wouldn't be you, the C. Guy who showed restraint when it was hard, then courage when it was necessary." Alex smiled. "My dad says the true test of character isn't in avoiding conflict or seeking it out. It's in knowing when to stand your ground." "Your dad sounds wise," Lily noted. "He is. He also says that the strongest people are the ones who use their strength to protect others, not to prove they're strong." As they walked together toward the exit, Alex noticed a younger student being nudged against the wall by a group of freshmen. Without hesitation, he detoured in their direction, Lily following close behind. "Everything okay here?" Alex asked, his tone friendly but firm. The group scattered immediately, mumbling apologies. The younger student looked up at Alex with gratitude and something like recognition. "Thanks," the boy said. "You're the one who stood up to Trent Bartley, right?" Alex shrugged. "I just stood up for myself." "Anyone can do it." "Not everyone," the boy replied, "but maybe more of us will try now." As Alex and Lily continued toward the exit, a sense of quiet satisfaction settled over him. He had found his voice and his place, not by becoming someone else but by finally being himself, a boy who had both the capacity for patience and the courage to draw lines when necessary. Sometimes, Alex thought as the winter sun greeted them outside, the strongest thing you can do is show others that standing up for yourself doesn't mean becoming what you hate. It means becoming more fully who you always were.